All right, students. So today we're going to be learning about commas. Now, if you remember, commas, we use them before what's called those conjunctions. We use them before words like and sometimes, or I don't know why I'm typing when I can be writing. We use them before words like and, before but, before yet, before so. Like when we're putting two sentences together. I like to go to the movies and I like to go snowboarding. But I can also use commas for some other parts as well. So we're going to be looking at this and putting some information together. So we use them for compound sentences. So compound sentences form when we put two independent clauses, which is a fancy word just saying we put two sentences together and we combine them with and, but, and so. So here's an example. I went to the store, but I left without buying anything. Each part of this compound sentence can stand on its own. So meaning it can be a sentence all by itself. So look at this right here. Let me paste it for us. And then I always forget I have to make it bigger. I went to the store, but I left without buying anything. So what does that mean? Well, it means before this comma right here, I went to the store. That's a complete sentence. And after the comma, this is also a complete sentence. I left without buying anything. So I'm just putting that comma together with this conjunction but to make one sentence, just combining those two. Now, we also use a comma to mark words that are spoken, such as the dialogue of the characters in a fairy tale. So an example, which we've been working on, is he said, I am lost. So let's look at this right here and how this one is structured. He said, I am lost. Notice there's that comma right there again. It's separating what the person said from our speaker tag. Remember, our tag is how they say it. In this case, the comma is used after the speaker tag and before the quotation mark. If the speaker tag comes at the end of the quotation, the comma is placed at the end of the quoted speech and before the final quotation mark. So this is how it would look if we put the speaker tag, he said, if we put it at the end. So notice I will still have that comma, but now it's put at the end of the quote, at the end of what he's saying. So we're going to look at some more examples and we're going to change it up. So here's another one. I can also put a speaker tag at the end, but it can be with the word like cried. But if I use the word cried, I'm actually not going to use a comma. See if you could figure out what I use instead of this comma. Oh no, I am lost, he cried. Notice this comma has been replaced by an exclamation mark. So I'm always going to have some kind of punctuation, but it might be a comma, it might be an exclamation mark. So that's what we're going to be working on as well, is where these commas go for compound sentences and where they go when someone's speaking. So let's look at our text, these 5 examples we have right here. Number 1, I'm going to draw on this one with some, let's see, I'm going to use this nice red. I like that. The boy opened the barn door with a weary sigh, and the old cow turned to look at him curiously. So sentence number 1 has 2 independent clauses. I can tell because it can be written as 2 separate sentences. So everything before the comma and everything after the comma, those are sentences all by themselves. I could have just put a period instead of a comma in the word and. It would still make sense. The boy opened the door with a weary sigh. The cow turned to look at him curiously. I could have done that. Now let's look at our next one. They've been conjoined. I have to talk about that first one first. We use that comma and the conjunction and to put them together. This next one, though, number 2, isn't going to be a compound sentence. It's not going to be 2 sentences put together. It's going to be the speaking with our quotation, that speaker tag. So look at where my comma comes in this. He set the pail down below the cow and complained. Ooh, right there. So there's my speaker tag, and complained. Notice how I had the comma right after that speaker tag? I wish I could be a prince. So there's a comma after the speaker tag because it comes before the quote. It comes before what he's saying. So now let's look at our next ones. And let's see if we can figure out where our comma it goes and why. Perhaps you can. Ooh, there's my comma. And the comma comes here because the person speaking, or in this case the cow speaking, and it comes inside the quote because our speaker tag is after the quote. Remember, if the speaker tag comes after the quote, then we put a comma in there. The boy's head jerked up suddenly, and he dropped his jaw in shock. Ah, this one I notice. It's a compound sentence. Notice everything before is a complete sentence. The boy's head jerked up suddenly, and everything after is a complete sentence. He dropped his jaw in shock. So I can always combine two sentences by putting a comma and the word and, but, so, or yet. Now let's check out this next one. This last one, number 5. You spoke, he asked. Huh. There should be a comma there, but there's not. Why is there not a comma this time? Well, there's not a comma because remember, we can replace that comma with an exclamation mark or a question mark if it's a question or someone's yelling. So that's our tricky part. If someone's speaking, then that comma can be replaced by an exclamation mark or a question if that's how they're saying it. Alright guys, you have enough to finish your, your word pamphlet. So good luck. If you have questions, let me know.